What's up, Trader's Edge? It's Mark Sebastian, your only option. And today I'm going to lay out why we had such an inside day, what was going on with the market, were there any green shoots, what's happening with VIX, what's happening with bonds, what's happening with the Russell 2000, and I'm going to give you the stock that I am watching for today. So with that, let's dig in. So, pretty inside day. For the first time in a very long time, the S&P had a tight range, back to back. Our range on Tuesday was only 64 points. That is the smallest range that we've had in weeks. You got to go back to the 27th for us to have range this tight. Q's pretty similar story. Right below that 21-day moving average, we're watching that very closely. I want to see if it can break over. Now, I do want to point out movement is starting to pull back finally. We still have a bunch of huge candles in this in my average true range that are going to affect daily movement, but things do appear to be calming down. Now, here's what I liked out of what I saw on Tuesday. Bond market was stronger. Good. Bond market seems to be breathing a sigh of relief. IWM managed to stay green. It actually led all the other indexes. Still not a big up day. I want to see a real strong up day out of IWM, but at least it holding its own and not dumping with the rest when the Dow's down 155 and the S&P's down 9. That's a positive sign. Last but not least, we're still paying really close attention to the VIX and how that futures term structure looks. All right, I want to remind you, here's where we were last week on this VIX. And I want you to pay attention right here. I'm going to cut this for you guys so that you can see real easily. All right. I want you to pay attention to this relationship. It's the relationship between the May future and the June future. The May future and the June future. That's where they were this time last Tuesday. Today, the spread is down to 0.8. The curve itself is really flattening up. The flatter the curve gets, the better that is. So where do we go from here? I think we're going to be green on the week. I like the market to potentially move higher. Doesn't mean we're through everything, but I think near term, the S&P 500 is in a spot where we might get back to this 21. I'm looking for like 55.30, 55.10, somewhere in that range, 5,500. So I do think there's more upside. Where's that upside going to come from? Well, not Apple. I think Apple is cooked, and I think it's going back to 195. However, there are some names that I like up. I think Amazon, Microsoft, and even NVIDIA look ripe for a bounce. We are starting to see some pretty active paper. All right, so I've got two stocks that I need you to pay very close attention to on Wednesday. One is Apple. I'm looking for it to potentially go lower, but not the whole market. What I'm looking for is that money leaving Apple to spread. And we'll know if it's looking good if you've got a name like Palantir higher, which is breaking out, and a name like Meta moving higher. It did not move higher on Friday or on Tuesday, but we're looking for it to move higher. That is what we're watching closely. So I need you to pay attention to, does Apple fall? And then what happens to all those other high beta names, the names that are really volatile? Do they rally? And if they do, That is a bull. That is a market you can get behind. We want Apple down, IWM up. That's really kind of sums it up. All right, remember, I am meeting with you every day at 10 a.m. Eastern time at Option Pit to help you get through what is this high VIX, highly volatile environment. You can join me by clicking the link in this email. And if you're watching me on YouTube, please like, subscribe, and leave a comment. Ask a question. I will get to it. All right, folks, I'm Mark Sebastian. I am your only option. Have a good one.